In our last video, we made big and drastic changes to our plan for East Africa. And that video ended kind of abruptly, without a lot of explanation. So we feel like we owe you a little bit of that. But first, I want to tell you what the original plan was. We were leaving South Africa, crossing into Zimbabwe, where we were going to see some world-famous ruins that were basically the heart of the country of Zimbabwe, dating back hundreds and hundreds of years. Then we were going to cross over into Botswana, where of course we were going to see all kinds of stuff, but the main highlight for us was going to be a safari out to see the meerkats, which are some of the cutest little creatures on earth, I think. Then we were going to cross into Zambia, where we were going to see one of the world's greatest natural occurrences, a huge, dramatic, beautiful waterfall, Victoria Falls. We would have crossed back into Zimbabwe so we could have seen that beautiful waterfall from both sides. Then we were going to take a ferry ride along the river there in Zambia, driving our way up towards Tanzania, where we would have been back in famous safari land, the Serengeti, where the Great Migration takes place, and we were hoping to see thousands of baby wildebeests. And then Mount Kilimanjaro, one of the most famous mountain peaks in the world, as we crossed our way up into Rwanda and Uganda, where the highlight would have been the mountain gorillas, the only place on earth you can see them, and a huge bucket list for me. Then we would have gone into Kenya, where the cities are supposed to be diverse and developed, and the tribal stuff out in the rural areas is supposed to be amazing, and more safaris. And then we would have crossed back through Tanzania to get to Malawi, where there is a beautiful long lake that you can drive along that's nestled down in the mountains. It's supposed to have just a cool, relaxed vibe as you drive along and enjoy the scenery. And then we would have crossed into Mozambique, where we would have worked our way over to the beaches for a little relaxation before crossing back into South Africa sometime, maybe 6 or 7 months from now, and then start sorting out the logistics of shipping the van to our next destination. But our first 24 hours in Zimbabwe was a harsh reality that we're just not quite ready. I don't think we ever will be ready again for such an adventure. If you follow our journey, you've heard me say that the journey down through West Africa took a little bit of adventure out of my heart. And it did. And I had hoped it would come back. But the border crossing into Zimbabwe was stressful and hard. It took several hours. And just knowing how many of those type of border crossings were ahead of us started to weigh on us. And then the roads. The roads, and it's not the country's fault. There's finances, economy, there's corruption in the governments, but that's just the way it is in most of these African countries through here. And when you travel through the rural parts of these countries, it's even worse. So it's not just that it's a bumpy road. All the stuff that comes with bad roads is the wear and tear on the van. Every little creak that you hear, every little squeak or noise, your whole body tenses up and you're like, did that pothole just break something in our shock system, or are we stranded out here again? It's just a fear that'll be with us forever. The mental toughness that it takes to drive on these roads is hard to explain. And you can see Curt over there right now. He's concentrating. You never know where the pothole's going to be, where the bump's going to be. where the goat's going to come from, where the 3-year-old little toddler that's running down the side of a major highway is going to dart out in front of you, where the group of 5 or 6 moms are selling their corn or their beans right on the shoulder of the road, the bus coming at you that thinks he deserves to drive in the middle of the road and that you need to go around, the kids walking to school, the taxi stopping wherever they want. Your mind never gets to take a break when you're driving on these roads.
Yeah, and so even though there's some gorgeous, absolutely scenic mountains around us, I mean, really jaw-dropping, it's hard to get past when you come into these towns, all the rubbish and all the smoldering grasses and hedges and bushes, because they've just lit so much stuff on fire. The air that just burns your throat because of all the smoke. And to be honest with you, just the sheer...
the harsh reality of this part of our world.
The harsh reality of the world.
Seeing kids carrying buckets of water on their head that they've walked 2 miles to get. It's just hard, guys, and it's the people that live in these environments are strong and they're survivors, and that is not what's driving this decision. It's just something we just can't do it again. We just don't want to do it again.
And we looked ahead at the forecast, and guys, we would be heading north towards the equator, and so hotter temperatures, and we look 100 plus temperatures in the 10-day forecast and beyond. And we don't have an escape from the heat. Our air conditioner was smashed in Banyo, and so just can't do it.
Yeah, at this point in our journey, we've lived in this van and traveled the world in this van for almost 6.5 years. And at this point in our lives and in our journey, going through these countries is just not something that we're going to do.
We're not going to do it anymore.
We're just not going to do it. So that brings us to the next step of this video. We don't have a long-term plan right now because everything changed so drastically. But our short-term plan is we are headed to Mozambique. We cannot return to South Africa right now because of visa time limits, and we need to sort some stuff out to figure out how that's going to work out. But we are headed to Mozambique, where we have found us a little place on the beach to rent and stay and regroup and come up with a long-term plan. But that's going to take us 15 hours of hard driving, and we need to cross the border tomorrow. Mozambique has an e-visa process. I have applied for that e-visa, and the email response said you will hear from us within 5 days. So unless we hear from them on this day, which would be day 1, we are going to try to cross the border without our e-visa and see if we can get that to happen at the border. So there's a lot of stress that's going to be coming over the next few days, but the goal is to get to our place on the beach and then come up with a long-term plan. So you guys are caught up. You may or may not understand that decision of why we're skipping so much of this beautiful continent, but that's the decision we've made, and now we're border bound, aren't we, Curt?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, guys.
All right, you're caught up. You know as much as we know. It's okay, buddy. We've got a plan. It's going to take us 4 days.
Zaman زمان قلنا كسفرو ظالم إلا لما شفنا ظلم صلاة زمن دي.
We've got a plan. Just gotta give us a couple days. Red light. That's pretty. I give them that.
أي قتل أي ظلم أي حسد أي فساد.
And I know you can, but I just can't.
أي نهب أي كذب أي طمع أي خراب. ظلم صلاة زمن دي عجبنا. عمرو فلوسنا قوموا كم خراب في بلادنا جابوا. عمرو فلوسنا قوموا كم خراب في بلادنا جابوا. واللي بيكلم في عدالة لسانه تكشاله. وناس اللي بيقاوموا واحد ورا واحد قتلوا. كم كبار كم صغار واخلوا. من ظلم صلاة زمن دي عجبنا. عجبنا 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 عجبنا.
New driver in the house. But add insult to injury, our brake light just came on, our wear of our brakes. Now, in Windhoek, which was, I don't know, less than 6 months ago, we just had new rear brakes put on. The last time we can remember putting front brakes on was Benin, so it hasn't been super long, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 miles, I guess. But anyway, here we are, and it's just one more reason why we're glad we're not heading north, because getting brakes, getting parts, going through all the mechanical issues in these other countries is just impossible or difficult. Look, we have about 1,000 kilometers to maybe 1,500 kilometers to our destination, so it's going to take about 3 or 4 days. We're going to push through, and hopefully we can get our brakes fixed when we get there. We'll be kind of monitoring as we go. We don't like pushing it this far, but we really don't have another option at this point in time.
And it's not the brake is bad light, it's the warning your brakes are reaching the rotor's light. So it's the warning light. So we're just going to drive cautious and get to where we have our Airbnb and deal with it there.
And I will say, for today, we have about another hour of driving, and the roads have held together better today than they did on our way in. Now, they're still bumpy, potholy, narrow, but look, if we get these roads the whole way, we're extremely happy. So,
and we've had good luck with the police stops today. We've been waved through all of them except for one. The last one did stop us and asked to see our CDP, which is like our passport for our van. He checked it out and then sent us on our way after asking a few questions. So far today has been not near as bad as the first 24 hours in this country.
And these mountains are beautiful that we're coming through here, guys. The big stones, the monoliths, all that stuff. It is a very dry region, and no grass. So when you come up to a little town or city, or even a village where there's people, it's just the whole ground is just worn down and barren. And but there's also lots of baobab trees through here, and those are beautiful. And we've noticed that some of them are starting to flower and some of them are getting leaves. So we're enjoying that. We're enjoying the mountain scenes. And yeah, we're just trying to make the best of this, guys. We're bumping along on this old humpity-dumpity road. We just stopped at a toll booth, the second one of the day. The tolls have both been $3, and so not too bad. $6 to go, I guess. I don't know, about 4 hours drive. But anyway, something that has happened here is, believe it or not, they use the US dollar in Zimbabwe, and that's their currency. And so like, we gave them, I don't know, 20 at one toll booth, and they gave us change back. And these bills, a lot of them are just old and dirty and worn out and stuff like that. And so they give us those as change, and then they're like, "Oh, we don't accept these bills because it's worn." And we told them we got them at the last toll booth. And then something really strange happened. Is the kid at the toll booth said, "If I accept this, they'll take it out of my pay.
He'll be responsible.
He'll be responsible for it." And again, we've seen this type of behavior. Well, in Namibia we saw it, in Angola, where if they make a mistake, the business owners or whoever, the government, actually takes it out of their pay or makes them pay for it. So I just think that's just kind of a really sad situation that they have to deal with. And so anyway, just wanted to share.
Shigeliba shashri kuri tugudai doba doba Shigeliba shashri mishiri tugudai doba doba Shigeliba shashri ege tugudai doba doba Shigeliba shashri dia tugudai doba 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 doba, doba doba, doba doba, doba doba. Shigeliba shashri Tata doba doba Shigeliba shashri iya tata doba doba Shigeliba shashri ani mashidai doba 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 doba.
We made it to our campsite. The roads were a little bumpy, but nothing horrific like yesterday. We are camping in the city here, very close to the border, at a sports club and a golf course. So I think it's $5 per person and $5 per vehicle to park back here in this field. Right out there would be the golf course. We're gonna settle in. Kurt's gonna make us a little lunch. And we will see y'all bright and early in the morning for the border. I'll keep checking our email. Hope we get some sort of response from the online visa. Still need to find a place to print out some forms in case we have to go to the border without our visa. But maybe we can do that in the sports club. We shall see. But today wasn't horrible. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come. We're feeling more and more comfortable with the decisions we're making. So we'll see you guys in the morning.
Good morning, everyone. We are so lucky we found a peaceful, cool, tranquil oasis. And we had a great night's stay. And I need to explain a little bit. But we found it on iOverlander, kind of a discreet little place on iOverlander. It's not a formal campground. It's a golf course. It's a golf course. And really what it is a community rec center. They have a 9-hole golf course. They have all sorts of different sports courts, from like a bocce ball court. I think some call it bocce ball, some call it squash, different things, all the same. But anyway, they also have they have a little cricket place, and they have a little of course a restaurant here that goes with the golf course. And Kevin, the guy who we met, who kind of runs the little camping portion, has been extremely helpful in kind of helping us sort out our map. He's a local here and been to Mozambique several times, which is the border we need to cross today. So gave us all sorts of helpful information. It's informal because there's not facilities. There is electrics. There's a big flat parking place to stay. But, and they also let you use showers, but it's kind of not set up like with ablution blocks and stuff like that. Nonetheless, it's like the best wild spot or informal camping ground, I should say, that we've ever stayed at. And last night the cats got a good walk, and G Money's out here today leading the charge. But it got down in the 50s last night, and after 3 or 4 days in the hundreds, we were delighted to catch some cool weather. We're kind of up in the mountains here. You guys were watching on the way in. It started to get more trees and more grass and all that type of stuff. And so anyway, this morning I'm out giving G a walk because today's going to be a bit of a stressful day. We have a border crossing, crossing into Mozambique, and we still have not gotten the paperwork back from the e-visa process. And so Snow has submitted that. They said 3 to 5 days. I believe it's been 3 days now since we submitted. And so we're going over to the border anyway. We're only about 15 minutes away. Not sure if we can get in. And well, you know how border crossings days are. It's a little bit nervous anyway. So, but we're gonna go for it. We're gonna get this guy a walk, and I'm gonna get Vanna a little bit of a walk. And but yeah, I mean, chances are you probably won't be in this neck of the woods, but if you ever are and are crossing the border, I highly, highly, highly recommend this place. If for no other reason, just to meet Kevin. He's a really cool and nice guy. Beautiful morning again today, a little breezy. It's probably in the low 60s, so it's gorgeous weather. And we're gonna get on the road.
Morning, Pumpkin. Good morning. You ready to go to Mozambique? Are you ready? No. You wanted to walk a little more at the golf course? That was a nice place to walk, wasn't it? I know. Well, here's some monkeys. Monkeys in the road. Go, monkey, go. Good morning, guys. We got a pretty early start. We would have liked to have gotten an earlier start, but Kevin told us that targeting around 8 o'clock at the border would be best traffic-wise. So we got to the border, I would say around 7:45 or 7:50. Checking out of Zimbabwe was super easy. It took us about 10 minutes. Getting parked was the hardest part, and maneuvering around all the semis, of course. And then we made it to the Mozambique side. As soon as you cross the border, everything's a little more loud and jovial and a little more chaotic, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. So we got parked, and then, of course, immediately at this border, you get swarmed by fixers. I mean, they invade your private space. I'm fortunate, I'm a girl, and I always just say, you must speak to my husband. And if you know me for real, that is so not like me. But it's how I get the fixers off of me, and then they focus on Curt. But we went inside, and this morning I checked our email first thing, and we did not have our e-visas where we had applied online yet. So we were taking a gamble by coming to the border to get our visas on arrival, because as Americans on the website, their government website, it says the e-visa is required. But we got here, and with a big smile and just as friendly as we could be, like we always try to do at borders, everything went fairly smooth. We had to prove we had hotel reservations, which I had made a copy of already, and then it was just a matter of going through the process of the boss of the immigration department sitting with us at a desk and filling out all of our information into their log books. We had to pay $20 US, which we were able to pay with US dollars, which is good. They don't use US dollars here in Mozambique. They use, their currency is called Medica. So we have to learn how that translates to US dollars before we buy anything else. But we were able to get our visas on arrival. They will only give you a 30-day visa at the border, but from what we understand and from what the immigration officer said, getting extensions is fairly easy. You just have to go to a local immigration office, and there is one fairly close to where our Airbnb is. So after immigration, Curt headed to customs to deal with the van. I escaped the chaos and came and got in the van for two reasons. One, we don't both need to be out there attracting all the fixers and the attention that we usually attract at a border. And two, if I'm in the van, I feel a little bit better about, not leaving the van at a border. Borders can sometimes be sketchy, although this one doesn't feel that way. But it's just kind of the system me and Curt have worked out. Once we get through immigration, he handles customs and comes back to the van afterwards. And here he comes. And I think there was probably quite a bit more paperwork that has to be done at this border. He's been dealing with the road tax, exchanging some money, and even though we have insurance for most of the continent of Africa for our van, Mozambique still requires that you buy their insurance here at the border. So he's been out doing all of that. It is now 9:10, and it looks like he's slowly working his way back to the van, and that'll be pretty good time. Nope, there he goes. He's got to do something else. I saw him walk away. But anyway, border is going fairly good. Curt's taking the brunt of it. Here he is. He's getting in. We'll be right back. I need to put the camera away. It is official. Welcome to Mozambique, our 53rd country in the van. I think that last part was a little stressful on Curt. Do you remember the money amount you had to pay, Curty?
Yeah, I do. We had to pay $75 for like a road impact fee, 75 US dollars, and they wanted 150 to return. So anyway, it was $75, and then for insurance we had to pay $55 for 1 month, and sorry guys, there's we've come, let me explain, we've come through the border, And now we're in the Mozambique. I think Snow said, welcome to Mozambique.
Yep.
But people trying, Mozambique semi-trucks, trying to get into Zimbabwe. I mean, we're like...
It's miles. It's lined up for miles and miles.
Maybe even 5 miles. I don't know. We're still going. Can't see the end of it. And so all these guys bunch up at the where you pay the road tax. And so it was a line, and it was hectic. And basically, you reach your money in the window. It almost requires a bit of a fixer to do that. They know the people. Plus, they speak Portuguese here, and I don't, a little bit. And anyway, I gave the guy $3 to help us get through that mess. So 75 for tolls, 55 for insurance, and then whatever Snow we had to pay for migration. And
we're in Mozambique. And Curt's dodging oncoming traffic because everybody goes around these semis. So we're going to turn this off, get through this mess. We'll be back in a little bit. Our next thing is we need to find an ATM to pull out some local Mozambique money. Curt exchanged a little there at the border, but the exchange rates at the border are always just horrible and hectic, and you never know if you're getting robbed. So we're looking for an ATM, and we're driving 4 or 5 hours to get to our campsite. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!